Hi guys. Second talk tonight. I just wanted to say, how many of you think that there is something beyond this eternal sphere of everything existing forever? Raise your hand. Alright? Because I do believe it, and I just want to know if you do too. But really it's the question whether humanity and our alien allies can, and our adversaries too, I'm sure we all get along in the sense that we want to get out of here, our small universe. So the question is have we found the way of going beyond our own universe into another universe, or another set of the multiverse? And if humanity has gotten there, how well, and if they were able to come back to our universe after time collapsed and then came back, and when everything was redoing itself. I mean, have we come back to this point in time, or has the scope of it, has the universe suddenly shifted in time where it's disappeared altogether and gone to a different part of space and then reemerged? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Because quantum would lead to that, but that would be a different kind of quantum, wouldn't it? So it's really a universal quantum where the whole gets destroyed, and then it disappears, and then it comes back in a totally different area of the multiverse. And who knows what's beyond the multiverse, right? We can only predict, and like certain sciences have shown, there's some forces behind every level of the multiverse, and it leads to different levels of time and different levels of as I see it, it's kind of like a polka dotted with small polka dots of time, and then there's gaps in time where there's no time, and then there's bigger areas of time. Although they might be a little different, they still have certain dimensional capabilities, and it's just a big mosaic I see out there in beyond our universe. And I'm sure there's so many different variations of life that we just aren't aware of, and so many there's so many freedoms, so many aspects to space, but it's also what we have to deal with on the dark side of it, the ugly side of space as well. And it's just a matter of whether we have gotten there, whether we have taken the precautions yet stepped out there to really get beyond where we're at. And I think, the first step is praying for us a little help from our friend Spock, and then maybe asking for a little help from God or whoever is actually beyond our universe. So it's sad to know that we're all a little trapped in our worlds, but if we're able to think about it, we'll be in a better place, and then we can focus our sanities or our ways of thinking on productively acknowledging certain new steps to promote and to manage our future. Because as we get faster and faster as a human race, as we must, to ever increase, we need to think about these deep thoughts and ask ourselves, what constitutes a science person? Is it just doing a step-by-step procedure, or is it a conclusion as well, coming to your conclusion first and then going after the procedure? And that is something to be said. A theory is one thing, but to come to a conclusion first and then come to your variables and your thesis on it, that's might be a helpful way of going about it. You be the judge. Depends how your mind works. Depends if you can make some connections. Other than that, I do believe that beyond the space of time will come to a realm where it is very law and obeying the way of the frontier of our mind, and then as we go beyond that, what is there? There's a very mechanical kind of idea that we are in this very digital yet Tron-like dimension. And then there's all the realms of how we feel and how our energy is rotated around. There's planes of time and planes of space, and there's so many. It's just not one level. It's just not a big multiverse going in one layer to the next layer. It's this, and then there's sprouts growing this way and that way, and underneath it's a whole variety of various. We just can't be linear about this. This is much bigger than what we are, and we're very small comparative to what's out there. But then we go on the inside, we see ourselves, and we can go for a very long time, and you just wonder what's really going through all the layers of what force contains in a atom, because you have the electron keeping the neutron and the proton fairly stable, but there's also kind of a firmament in an atom, if you think about it. What else? You go smaller. There's so many different layers to what constitutes life in an atom. I mean, you can go to that point, and really, it's there's a certain charge or a certain static or a certain signal in the atom or the quark that will make it into the atom or into the molecule, and it's just nothing is done without precision, and each atom or each molecule has been digitally charged, and that means it has been done probably by either a mechanism or a computing conglomerate of massive controls that we use for molecular and quark function. But we go smaller, and you have to understand, we might only have the ability to function right now as a quark in our minds, to control the quark in our bodies. But we can go further than that. We have to go smaller, and we have to see if there's a layer to that will give us even more freedoms, more control over what we do. And I think in time, humanity will go there. I don't know if they've gone there already, but if they can organize the math behind it and spend the time, I mean, that's an extraordinary amount of time that it takes, and it can't be done in just one eternity. And that means that humanity can't just die off at the end of eternity. They have to go beyond this universe. They have to make another eternity somewhere else, or make an eternity in a bigger bubble. So, because the universe is just a bubble as far as I'm concerned. You can put it into economic perspective or whatnot, but it's just a bubble. And we're a bubble in a big ocean. You know, it's we might be just the froth of a big ocean out there. You know, so in some ways we could be the algae of a deep sea, and it just goes to show you what else is out there. It's spooky, but if we give ourselves the freedoms, the controls to manage and shut down synapses and structures in case we should find something that fails us, we have to be very careful, and hopefully we can be very careful and create our own universes, right? So develop our own universes outside of this one, and come back to this to visit us after after the whatever happens, the black hole or whatever it takes us out. So I think humanity has the potential to ask God for a lot of advice. I mean, we can't really deny God the opportunity to ask for answers and not get them, right? Because if we don't ask, we don't receive. In that, thoughts come from something, and it's not just the brain. It's not just comprehension, because I don't have comprehension right now. Thoughts are coming from me from every which way. It's maybe a global consciousness, maybe a pool of thought that's out there. I mean, people learn things on one side of the world, and then it pops into the head of someone on the other side. So it's maybe it's just a big interstellar transcendence. Who knows? But there's forces at play, and that's the exciting thing. So whatever happens, you gotta believe. Gotta believe in whatever it takes. Because I'm just a motivational speaker right now, because I would prefer to be able to speak about equations stuff and intellectually and go into that, but it's not for me to say. And with that, I hope the future has fun. I really do. Because it should be fun learning about this stuff. And the opportunity to learn about it too. We have to be groomed for it, unfortunately, somewhat. And as a child, I'd suggest as a child you ask your parents for every opportunity. You say, what else can I do to do this? What else can I do to become an astronaut? What else can I do to become a physicist or a scientist or a quantum mechanist? And you question, you poke, and every day you ask them, what else can I do? What else can I do? If you do that every day as a child, you're going to get answers, because you're going to find a professional that will help you with that. And you'll get to the frontier. And guaranteed, when you're my age, you won't regret that frontier. So do that, kids. That's all I'm saying. If you want. I mean, the mind is amazing when you work with the spirit, and that's what scientists have. They have spirit. They don't have to say it comes from one source or another, but they can say they have spirit. Thank you. So long.